Well, hey, handy people, Dan here. Hey, today I've got a quick and easy way, well, not maybe so quick, but easy way to save money. And that is repairing your broken garage door opener for just 20 bucks. Come on along. So, I went and I hit the button, and the thing sounded like it's supposed to. Well, actually, it gave a little growling sound. Now it's just not making any noise. And the door went about halfway up and froze. First, unplug the unit. That's first. Next, you come down the chain to where this device is at, and it's usually where your pull handle is, okay? And right now my pull handle's over here, but this is what the part that it clips into. And there's two nuts here that you gotta loosen up, and you want this chain to, this bolt, this threaded rod to go this way to give you enough looseness on the chain to get it off that small sprocket on top. Once you do that, I like to I'll cable tie it up here. The next step will be then taking off this nut and the one on the other side so that the opener is loose. And then my final thing, I'll take the wiring that's on it off as well. And then I'll be able to lower and remove this garage door opener. I like to work on them on the ground, it's safer. Next, now I got the chain loosened. I've got the unit unplugged, I got the chain loosened. Now I'm gonna take a note of these sets of wires and where they go. So please do this. I notice I put red tape on the red one, white's on the white, green's on the white, and then these are ground. It's black. So that's important. You don't want to tear it all apart and realize, oops, I didn't do this right. So a good way to do it, take a picture with your phone camera. And if all else fails, label them like I did by color. Now before I take the chain off, you'll note that there's a couple of half-inch, it's hard to see with the lighting, but there's half-inch bolt that's got to be taken out, one on each side. They're kind of at opposite ends. So those have to come out to drop to break this track loose from here. So I'll do that before I pull the chain off because it's just a little easier. Now you can see the electric wires are hanging. There's no power to those. The power for those comes through the opener. The opener is unplugged. So what I did now is I took a bungee cord and hooked it through both sides and put the chain through it so it won't go anywhere. And you'll notice it's off the top. I've taken the two screws out and I actually put them back in, just sort of keeping track of them. And now I've got the opener resting on the top of the ladder, which that helps. It's a little weight to this thing. So yeah. So next is take these two side screws out. I've got the unit in a well-lit place on the ground where I can comfortably work on it. My next is I'm going to take this, what size is this? 1/4 inch on my power screwdriver and just take these screws out. There's 4 of them. Now is a good time to change your light bulb. If you're not running an LED, maybe a change to that would be in order. Yep. So there's those 4, and then there's 4 more. So we take off the protective cover and set it aside. And we harvest these guys. Next, just tip the back so the cover comes off. You notice the fragments that are inside the cover. That's the nylon gear that's right here that got destroyed. And that's what we're gonna fix. If you'll notice, there's a lot of play in the shaft. So the cool thing is the kit we have has the stuff needed to replace that. This is a capacitor, and this is a battery waiting with a big high amperage charge waiting to discharge. You can discharge the unit, that's a lot safer. However, you don't have to, but it's probably a wise idea because you don't want to get hurt. It's just not worth it. Anyways, so my next steps, I'm gonna get some gloves back on and start to take this part apart. Here's the $20 part, and I'll show you this. This just came in the mail. The $20 part is a repair, is a repair part, and I'll put the information. I bought it off Amazon. I'll put that information into the video below. And here's the bag of goodies. The nice part is this comes pre-assembled, and wow, this is very nice. This is going to be a nice piece. It includes both this gear and the worm gear that's below down here that we may need to get at. Well, maybe not. My worm gear appears not to be damaged. So I may be able to get by just changing this gear, which would be sweet. Okay, so here's where, obviously this gear is damaged. I inspected the gear that's on the back side of this that drives it from the motor, and it's fine. This gear is what failed, and I think it's built that way. So what I will do is I'm going to take and use this part and the grease, and I might need a bushing. Looks like we have bushings as well. This kit's pretty nice. It also has the roll pins and set screws as needed for doing anything else you need to do. So that's pretty nice as well. Yeah, this is very nice. Thumbs up. So this one comes out with 5/16, and I think those three, they got to come out from inside this gearbox. Okay, so they're too tight for my little guy to work. So let's try, I'm gonna get an extension and use, there we have it. These are 5/16. Oh yeah, they're tight. And I get at the back one, which is kind of shielded by the motor right here. Ta-da! Now these other two will come out, because I loosened them, should come out with this. Nice, this is a magnetic tip deal, which is kind of nice. Okay, now we've got that out. We got to take this part off. There's a little clip that holds that in. You pull that clip out, and there's a new one on this one. See, that's where that end goes, is right there. And let's see. I think all I got to do is tip it on its side again. And she might come out. Oh, wait a minute. What have we got? I don't think there's anything holding it other than, is there a pin? Oh, there's a pin. Where is there a pin? I can't see it. I have to get, no, there's no pin. This should come off. So, all I gotta do is wiggle it a little and pull. And out she comes. Now when you're pulling it out, you gotta get past the wiring. Wow. Yeah, that's why they put nylon in there. Eventually it does wear out. Now the last time I rebuilt these, and I've done this before, by the way. Man, this got a lot of play in the bottom of it. These kits weren't available. All I could get were the gears themselves. So I had to take everything apart and repair it. This is sweet because I've got the whole assembly to go back in, and where this one's got a lot of play, this does not. It's nice. And it looks to me like it's a perfect match. This chain sprocket is perfect. Very interesting. Very interesting. Everything looks like it should, and it's. I like to line things up and just take a good look, and it looks like a perfect replacement. So, set this guy down here out of the way. I'm not throwing him out. I might keep him for future. I may need him. I'm guilty of keeping things a little too long most times. But don't hold that against me. We take this gear off. We take the retaining clip. And then we're going to put this in. But I think what I'm going to do is this wonderful grease that they've given me. I think I'm going to first get some compressed air and blow out all the debris inside this, because I don't know if you can see. And there goes the old gear. But up in the inside there, it's full of debris of that plastic. So I need to blow that out. So I'll be back. So I took out the rough service light that was in there, and I got an LED, just a standard LED 60 watter. I'm gonna give this a try and see if it can handle the vibrations. If so, I'll save some money and be green. But if not, oh well, I'll have to put the rough duty back in. So I won't discard the rough duty because it was still doing its work. You know, I was just thinking about this opener. You know, I put this in this garage when I built this garage over 20 years ago. And it's given me some great service. I blew it out with compressed air, and I'm gonna grease this up a little bit from this side. This main drive deal, I'll put some grease in here. And I'll also grease the other side. Just because we want this thing to, and I grease that gear heavily all the way around. And I'm gonna grease this gear as well. This gear is what tells the opener to stop and go. So you don't want to lose your relative position in this thing by any means, because now you gotta then have to reset it and fiddle with it. I probably will anyways, but well, you know, the less you gotta reset or redo, the better, I suppose. All right, now I think we are ready. I'm gonna reorient this so that this tips up the other way. Yeah, like this. That's because I want to be able to see. And since I can get it this side, I'm gonna throw some of this grease in there too. Grease is your friend, especially mating these older parts. Give you an idea. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I hope so. And here we go. Now there's a wiring loom in the way. You got to kind of sneak this by the wiring loom and then up into the bushing. And that's it. Other than I got to rotate this so that I can put the screws back in. There we have it. All right. And I'm gonna get my hands clean because I got grease on them. Then I'm gonna get these screws in. Before I get the screws in, I'm gonna put this other gear on. Before I put the other gear on, I'm gonna grease it too. Okay. And this guy goes on with the gear down. And then you turn this until you see the clip orientation hole. And you put it through, just like you took it out. That little plastic clip goes through like this, or whichever way you want. And now it's setting in place. So now I can turn this thing right side up, I suppose. Or, no, I'm sorry, upside down, which is the right way for putting these screws back in. And I can make it happen from here. And what I'm doing is I'm holding up on the gear set. And I got the first screw in. And it's just a little off. There. I got my other hole aligned. I'll pop this one in. I got a little grease that's on this head. And that helps. Okay, 2 in. Trying not to touch anything electrical. But I do have rubber gloves on, which that's a good thing. Greasy rubber gloves, I'll add. But they dry off pretty quick with it. Or you can throw them away. But I figure if I haven't torn them, I'll use them until I do. Okay, well, I tightened the screws using, the tool and using this, the 1/4" drive socket, wrench and socket, and this extension. And now all 3 are tight, and I'm ready to put this cover on and put this guy back up into service. Okay, so there's 2 screws, 2 types. There's 8 screws hold this on. There's 2 types, long ones and short ones. The short ones go on the metal sides. they fall on the ground while you're trying to put them on the metal sides. I make them loose at first because I got to get 4 holes lined up. By the way, one of these tools is a blessing. This Black & Decker, I don't get any money for endorsing this, but this is a great tool to add to your arsenal. I think this was like 30 bucks. And my goodness, I use it for everything I can. And it's quite stout, it's quite powerful for a small tool, and it holds the charge well. That's an unsolicited positive I'm giving to Black & Decker for this baby. Now I'm going to tighten these down, and then I'll go at the front, at the other 4. These go metal to metal. This goes from the metal case to the metal lower frame, and these go into the plastic mounts that are out. So these are the coarser thread, and these I'm just going to snug. I'm not going to, because they're just coarse thread. I don't want to rip out the plastic. And that's one thing I like about this tool. I can kind of finesse it. It goes slow enough that I can just hold it lightly, and when it hits, it'll kind of bump on my hand, and I hold it loosely in my hand, and I just let it go, and now we're ready to put it back up. So I've got it up there. I got the top bar mounted back down to the box, and I've got both screws in it. I've got one more nut that I dropped that I got to put back onto the far side screw. Then I'm going to pull the chain tight over the sprocket, and then I'll tension the chain, and then it's time to adjust. Plug it in and get the wiring finalized, and yeah. So I got a few things to do, but that's what we're into next. Hi there. So the last piece I'm going to put on is this. And this is the bar that connects the door to the closer. Now first I'm going to put the door part on, which is pretty simple. It's got these pins with these convenient like spring clips that spin out. Twist it into that little hole, and out they come. Your door may have something similar. Sure, these are pretty standard things. They may have a cotter pin or whatever. These are these round spring clips that you can. You don't need really any tools. You just twist them till they're in. And we have this piece, which part of this is you want this door closed with a little downward pressure on it. Not a lot, but a little. And I think we're close. I'm going to release it here and get the pin in it. This is your manual release cable, this guy right here. I got the pin in, now I just got to put the little clip in. to hold the pin in. There. And there, I was able to lock it in, and it's snug and it's pushing down on the door, which is good. You'll notice I had to do a chain adjustment when I put the, put that final bits together. The chain adjustment required me to loosen the chain up and change its orientation on the gear motor. Once I gave it one test, it went all the way to the door, and it stopped and hit the stop down there, and then it shut off. So I knew I had to readjust it. So I'm hoping this readjustment I just did will work. I believe it will. I think I got the chain back in the timing sequence that it was in, and should be good to go. So here goes nothing. Well, there you have it, folks. It's an open and shut case. Simple as that. It took me, with videoing, about 3 hours to complete it. However, I probably could have done it quicker if I didn't, take all the time for the videography. Anyways, thanks for watching, and hey, if you found this helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. It's really important. It helps me keep this content coming. Thanks again. Here's a quick rundown of all the tools you need for the job. 1/2-inch bolts are what are on my opener. That's the largest bolt, so I have the impact gun for tensioning the chain quickly, and then the 3/8 socket set. This has got a 1/2-inch socket on it. There's the 2 1/2-inch wrenches that I use for also loosening and tightening the chain. The small handheld electric drill that I use the 1/4-inch and the 5/16 bits to disassemble the chassis. The Phillips head screwdriver for the wiring, flat head screwdriver for the up and down tensioning once you do these final adjustments. Needle nose pliers that helped me with the wiring a little bit. Grease is huge, and there that bungee cord, ratty as it is, that was very helpful, as you can see. And then finally, rubber gloves and the $20 kit.